And we're live. Let's make sure we're live. Let's make sure we're live. All right. Things are looking better. All right. Things are looking better. Okay. Just making sure I'm live. Now I can close this out. There might be a second of feedback, so if so, I apologize, but it is what it is. All right, so let's get to thinking about our next subclass. Where we left off this one, but I don't want to touch this one without empty being here. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so talk about subclass ideas and what we got going on. Let's just in general create this area here so that we can just refer to it. What am I missing? A, B, C is cleric, druid, fighter, rogue. I think I'm going in alphabetical. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. Yeah, so monk, technically. Sorcerer. Is that all of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. Okay. Let's create a new folder for these specifically. Subclass ideas. And then essentially we're going to grab this. All right, cool. Now we have our subclass ideas, at least our table here. So we can tune into this. And then we can essentially use this to create our ideas. So, Artificer, I immediately thought what could kind of be cool is like a Mechomancer? Kind of summoning droids and robots to help you fight. Droid Master. Yeah, let's do Droid Master. That might work better. Barbarian, I don't know if I really have one for Barbarian. Droidaster? Is that what they want? That doesn't make sense. Okay. Let's think about it. Nothing. Welcome. We are officially back. Yeah, it's been like an 8-day break, about a week, a little more. It was a lot of busy stuff in general, but then also Helldivers 2 came out, and that swept away a couple of my nights. That game was very, very fun. But we're happy to be back. I was saying earlier, I know last we left off, we were working on the class. So I decided to leave that until you were here, and we could finish it at some point. Made a drone operator artificer idea. If you want to see, I can give it to you. Yeah, no, absolutely. Because we already, that's literally what I just thought of right here, right now for this. I'm trying to put one for each class. So I was thinking a droid master could kind of be cool. I'm always happy to see what people have put and made. I can't, Barbarian, we recently made one, so I kind of want to avoid it for last. Bards. This one is a bit tough. They already have so many bard subclasses, and for the most part, they've kind of hit it on the nose. But we'll see. We might be able to find one. Now, let's go check them out. Rampager Barbarian, a barbarian who gets stronger the longer a fight goes. It's not a bad idea, actually. It's kind of cool. We'll put that right now as we table it. Kind of like it as it's almost like a gladiator idea. Gladiator, that's how you spell it. There we go. Bards. So they have one to help them create stuff. They have one to help them talk or dress up. One to help them talk. One to make them historians. Essentially speak with the dead. Circus. So they're like heroic bards. They love tales of heroes. And then more of like whispers. What are we missing? What if there's a bard subclass that's essentially kind of like a siren? Like causing people to fall in love with them to get them to do stuff, and then using that. Does that sound like it could be fun? A screeching solo bard? You mean like they're screaming all the time? What if we do... What if we do kind of like a... Okay, the issue is that like... Okay, wait, no, this can kind of work, because Wizard has something called Blade Singer. Right. Which sounded like, at first it could be a bard thing. We could do a Blade Dancer. Is that a... I don't think that's a subclass for anything. It might be a rogue one. No, it's not. So I think a Blade Dancer could kind of be cool. And then you can kind of have a cool interaction if a Blade Dancer and a Blade Singer are together. So Blade Dancer will be that choice. Let's add this to the dictionary. Kind of want to... I want to make these a little more obvious. $20. No, it's gonna take a second. I wish I did this at the start, but we live with our mistakes. Oh. There is a sword bard. Yeah, so I don't want it to be specifically like you have to use a sword, but because I know like Final Fantasy, the MMO has a dancer and they use like what look like chakrams. Sword Bard is the bard version of the blade singing wizard. You could be correct. We could check it out real quick. See what it does. Because I know from what I remember, it's like you got extra attack and that's essentially it. So let's see. When you take the attack action, your walking speed increases, and if it hits a creature, you can use your blade flourish and do one of these things. So defensive allows you to pretty much get extra AC. Slashing lets you do more damage, and then mobile, I assume, lets you move around. And you can roll a d6 instead, expending a bardic inspiration dice. Oh, I mean, honestly, this pretty much is as good as it gets with Bard, right? I guess a big thing is to also think about how much do we want to keep the identity of music with bards? You could do a failed bard who instead hurts people with bad music. Ooh. No, okay, what if it's like a discourse, like a Discord bard? Right? Isn't that literally the definition of Discord? It's like a break in tempo. Not trying to look for a sentence, just Discord definition. No, yeah, lack of harmony between notes sounding together. It's definitely a musical thing. So we could do a College of Discord. Let's see. College of Terrible Music. That's definitely where they went to their academy at. College of Discord can kind of create a nice... You can either make it that, like, hey, you are a failed musician, or you could be cursed to, like, always play terrible music. Could be, like, even haunting. And that could go back to the Siren idea. No college bard, yeah. GED bard. We could just call it that. Okay, so we got that one. Blood Hunters, I kind of like the idea of making a ranged Blood Hunter. But I'm not so sure how... Because we just made a ranged Barbarian, essentially. So I'm not a fan of turning every class into a ranged option. Because then that whole idea is not unique anymore. What we could do is we could make... We could kind of make like a cursed Blood Hunter. I mean, there's the lycanthropy or lycanthropy. What if we make a vampire one then? Right, because from what I know, Blood Hunters you can turn into a werewolf. But I think it would be kind of cool if you can do a vampire. Yeah, because they have the Odor of the Lycan. What does Mutant do? No, that's like the classic Witcher, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll do Order of the Vampire. Are there other words for vampire? Because with werewolf you have Lycan. Life Drained Blood Hunter. It's definitely the idea. Vampire synonyms. Let's check it out real quick. What are their things called? Orders? We could do it like Order of Sanguine. Order of the Sanguine, but... Huh. None of these ones seem too good. God, so many of these are just rude. Right. Other words for blood then. That's probably how. I mean, kind of like Order the Crimson might be the best. Oh, the Gladiator is not really a ranged one. No, not the Gladiator. We made the this one, the Oath of the Fury Bow. Or Path of the Fury Bow. And that was a complete ranged barbarian. This Gladiator one is like ideas I have for the next set, pretty much. For now, we're just going to call it Order of the Vampire, so we know what we're talking about. We'll think of a name kind of later. Whoa, whoops. I don't like that it's underlining. Come on. Work with me. Order of the Vampire. Alright, for Cleric. So... the thing is I've noticed that there is... okay, there's two sides to this, what I mean by Fallen Cleric, because on one side, Paladins have something called Oathbreaker, which is the idea that once you lose... once you break your oath in some way, or you leave your order, or you're casted out, regardless what it is, you become an Oathbreaker. So you cannot break your oath. However, Cleric doesn't have anything like that from what I know. Because they have the death and they have the grave, but that's still in like worship. It's not something that you essentially have broken your code and now you're this. So Fallen Cleric could be two things, and I guess we can highlight that over here. Either the Cleric has fallen, or the other option is that your deity has actually fallen. Cleric or the deity. So on one side, you could be... the idea for the subclass is that you can be a cleric who broke their oath and turned evil. The other side is the deity that you worshipped has been killed or fallen or lost their power, and now you are kind of still a cleric worshipping essentially a dead god. A cultist cleric, maybe? It could definitely be roleplayed that way. I don't want, like, I've seen a lot of cultists to kind of be like, oh, we're trying to be like a sort of a dark cleric, but I feel like that's very warlock. Which is not to say that's a bad thing. It's just for me, I could obviously see it like... it doesn't sound as intriguing, because I would just be taking a lot of stuff from warlock and kind of give it to them. But they also kind of have... clerics have so many domains. Honestly, making another subclass for them just feels like I'm giving them too much, but... they have grave and they have death. And I know death is a little more kind of on like the occultist. So I think we'll stick with that. Either one of these two, it'll be cool. Druid. Okay, so... they're called circles, right? Yeah. Two options here. Let's think. What do they have? They have Wildfire, which, in my opinion, is like one of the coolest ones. I know that was recently there. Stars recently came out. They have Moon to help them shapeshift. They have... Is Shepherd the one that's like all about different seasons and elements? Or is it of the land? It might be the land. Yeah, because you choose between that. So... on one side, I'm thinking about making a circle of the apex. And what the idea is that it's kind of taking the idea of like, hey, nature is extremely brutal. And it's like survival of the fittest. Because a lot of depictions of druids are always that, hey, like, they're very kind, they're very isolated, they love trees and animals and nature. But this is one, like, a circle of druids that literally look at, hey, like, the idea of a bear having to eat its cub to survive, or, I don't like druids much. Hold up, I have a little chat thing that's interrupting. I don't like druids much as I play Artificer anti-nature. Maybe a metallic one type of druid. It could be kind of cool in concept. I wonder how we would play that out, because I know druids' whole thing is that they don't want to use metal, unless it's like very special metal. I mean, should we make a healing druid? Kind of like a resto druid from WoW. I think that might be a good idea. Geomancy? Oh, so like a rock and stone one. That could be a contender. Alright, so as far as right now, let's do... Circle of Stone. And Circle of... What did I just say? Damn it, I have the biggest memory thing. God, I have that thing, you know, when like you just thought about something and now you're trying to remember it. What was I talking about? Some kind of circle right now. Oh, healing. So you could call it like Circle of Bloom. So it's one of these two. Bloom or Blossom? What sounds better? Probably Bloom. Healing? Yeah, so that's the two ideas we have right now. One is a healing druid. And then the other is the geomancy that you talked about. Just because, like, for the most part, everyone kind of feels like, oh, hey, if you want to be a healer, go cleric because it's just the best. So this kind of allows you to kind of be a healing druid. Because I played World of Warcraft before I played D&D, and World of Warcraft has, like, a druid role where you can heal. And so when I first played D&D and I saw a druid, I was like, oh, like, can I do that? And when I found out there wasn't one, I was a bit surprised. So I know the only one that lets you, like, heal as far as the features go is the Circle of Stars, and it's only one of the things, which is this right here, the Chalice. That's about it. No, Artificer Alchemist, best healer, not convincing me otherwise. The Alchemist is very, very cool. The only issue is that, like, Alchemists or Artificers are not full casters, and that detriments them a bit. Heal is like a very powerful healing spell. But they are the coolest healers. Alchemy is always fun. Alright, we have fighter. How many times can you make fighter interesting? Alright, let's think about this. I have an idea that... So, either sword and shield fighter. Like, kind of like a shield master. And the other one is essentially trying to become like an armored... As much of an armored knight as possible. And that's the way you tank. Which can kind of be like a warden. I think I might like that idea. It doesn't matter they use potions, so you won't have to rely on enemies using anti-magic field. That is true. That is a very good point. In that situation, you definitely come out on top. Ariel Ace Fighter. So I kind of want to make a tank a flying fighter. Oh, then I think you meant aerial ace. I'm not sure how... It's hard to incorporate flying into it. Especially because fighters don't use magic. That's always like their big thing. I'm thinking about making a tank because as far as right now, the main tanks you have, like tanks in D&D, you have the biggest one, which is Barbarian, and that's... They use essentially their health and damage reduction. You also have... I'll just call them Moon Druids, for like Circle of the Moon. And the reason why is they can just shapeshift to regain health. And so I think if we do the fighter, the idea is you tank through super high AC. Like you're hard to hit. We could just have him jump high and float down slowly using a cape-like thing to glide. Do you think that could be a good ranger one? I think it might suit ranger better because they can... Oh yeah, there is wizard tank. I forgot about that. We'll do that one. Well, I know Bladesinger is actually a pretty tanky class because your AC gets up there. I like your idea of kind of like an aerial combatant. I think it might work better with ranger because kind of the idea of using trees to jump down. And then also on top of that, they could use different weapons. Kind of like bolas, traps, bows, swords. That's what I'm thinking for that. We can go ahead and get rid of this. Alright. The good old monkey. How about that? Is there a monk subclass that essentially is focused on using like a staff? Like a quarterstaff to pretty much beat the shit out of people with? Because I know there's Way of the Kensei that lets you use weapons, but you have to keep like learning different weapons. Monkey Monk? I have a friend who already made like a Way of the Wukong. So I don't want to step on his turf, but it was a really good idea. I don't like monks so much. I understand. I think what I kind of want to do is Way of the Ronin. Could sound cool. I kind of like the idea of that, like, okay, so I recently saw the new League of Legends cinematic. One second. I think it's this one. Let's see. Ronin sounds more roguish or fighterish. Well, it is a very Eastern culture-esque type of thing. So it kind of fits the idea of a monk. Yeah, definitely wasn't gonna do that one. Okay, so the cinematic. Where is it? It's this part. I saw this, and this is kind of like the idea I'm thinking about. Right? Like this would be such a cool monk right here. So when I saw this, I was like, man, I don't think D&D has like a monk that, I mean, given he doesn't use it any longer than that, which is kind of disappointing, but uh they don't have a subclass focused on using a staff, like a quarterstaff. Ronins are samurais without masters. Yes, they absolutely are. But it's more of the idea of like you are kind of traveling around without a master. That's why I think it's more of a fighter. They are. I mean, it depends. There's like two sides of samurais, because like the actual historical samurais, 100% are like the armored, essentially armored knights. Right? That's essentially the armor they wore. But like the glorified fantasy samurai just kind of has like the robes and the sword. Um, what is that one show that came out, or the movie? Ronin movie. What was it called? Was it Kenshi or something? This one. Kenshin. I know this movie came out on Netflix recently. This is like the glorified version of samurais, right? It's like the idea of they're just wearing the robes and they have the blade and they're very agile. So if I like look at Ronin art, kind of get a lot of these. Essentially, the look is like this with a staff. It's very specific, which is why I don't know what to call it. It doesn't have to be Ronin. I care more about using the staff than I do the idea that you have to travel around as a Ronin. Or we could dive into the idea of a Ronin. Because the only issue, nothing is if we put the Ronin with fighter, it already has samurai. We're gonna be kind of stepping into that turf, that turf for it. So if we keep it on monk, we can justify them holding like just robes, just like the traveling garment. I just don't really know how gameplay wise we would really make this a class. Like what abilities do you get for being a Ronin? So in that case, Way of the Staff. We'll go with that. Way of the Master Splinter. Makes sense though, as they are almost the same. Yeah, Ronin and Tamers, they are. They definitely are. We'll do Way of the Staff for now. That's kind of more of what I want to focus on and what I have ideas for. The Rogue. Oh, hold up. Let's put the music back on so it's not so quiet. There we go. All right, the Rogue. We have our stabby rogues, we have our talkative rogues, we have our detective rogues. We could make a poison focused rogue. That's one option that comes in mind. A trapper rogue. It could work. The only thing is I feel like it's going to get too similar to our the improviser that we have kind of with the trap ideas. People would trap you, then ambush. I mean, we could do like a stalker rogue. Maybe one that like jumps on you, goes crazy, and then leaves. What if we do a stalker rogue and it's like really good at trailing people and like hunting them down? Assassin kind of does the job for poison. Yeah, that's a good point. But I'm kind of thinking of the stalker one. The only issue is stalker has a bad sort of meaning behind it, so probably doesn't sound as cool. No, that's just creepy. Why would you want a rogue? Yeah, maybe. That's what I was thinking. Is that because stalker sounds weird? Let's think. What about a smuggler? Do they have a smuggler for rogue? Like, I know a lot of times you can kind of roleplay, but kind of like a Han Solo. Yeah, they don't have... I know Mastermind has a lot to do with, like, the underworld. Kind of the same thing with Inquisitive, but... I think, like, a smuggler could be kind of cool. What's your name? Why would you like to join us? Yeah, true. All right, for now we'll think with smuggler. Yep. Did I spell smuggler right? Is it 2 G's for smuggler? I have no idea. We'll find out. Yeah, it is. Okay, sorcerer. We did the frost mage. Stalker rogue. Hi. My name is Tom, and I'm a stalker who would like to join you. He's known for a long time that he wants to join them. That's funny. Okay, so we did Frost Mage. What's another idea? Power given to you immediately. It's kind of what we're rolling with. It's the theme of Sorcerer. Oh, whoops. I am so sorry. I hit my mic. Do they have... What if we kind of put a curse sorcerer? Oh, the original word for sorcerer in Greek means drug addict? Try to make a drugged up sorcerer? Does it really? That's crazy if that's true. Drugged up sorts is essentially like a crack baby. Like while they were pregnant, their parents took drugs, and so they came out addicted to it. So I kind of like the idea of like a cursed sorcerer, right? Because like the idea is you're born with your power, but what if you're born with a curse, like a dark power? Because they don't have any of that here. They have the aberrant mind, which is like, but that's like you can read minds and kind of more Cthulian type of shit. Yeah, I think I really like the idea of a cursed sorcerer. All right, warlock. The word pharmakia was translated to sorcerer in English, and pharma, as you can guess, is in drugs. Oh. I see. That's wild. Cultist warlock. Yeah, I think that might work. What is the difference between cultist and occultist? I see that spelling a lot. Cult refers to a movement. On the other hand, occult refers to supernatural mystical practice. So yeah, I think we do occultist. That could be kind of cool. I like your idea, nothing. So let's do that. Sorcerer on steroids. They were gifted power via drugs. You really want to make a drug out of character, don't you? You're just trying to find a way to incorporate that in your class. Can you do a ritual and concentration based wizard? Oh. So like what benefits do you think they would get? Because rituals are already pretty free in D&D. Like you can cast them as many times as you want, as long as you have the 10 minutes. I find it very funny. The drugs are indeed funny. So one thing I can already think of with concentration is the wizard can specialize in breaking the concentration of everyone. Like they can let out essentially like an AoE blast that forces every spellcaster to make a saving throw if they're focusing on a spell. And if they fail, then it breaks it. I'm not sure what we can do with rituals to make them better. Other than making them shorter. Like it would take less time to cast it. Maybe a Longcaster Wizard, it could reduce materials while casting spells as rituals. Oh, so do you mean able to like convert a normal spell to a ritual and cast it that way? Even have an advantage on concentration spells. That much can definitely work. I kind of like the idea of a wizard in general knowing a lot about rituals. So the ritual thing can definitely be an identity thing or a roleplay thing, where they can identify rituals and kind of like what they're using it for. So, for example, if they walk into kind of like a dungeon or a laboratory or something, if that wizard is this subclass, they can make an investigation and determine what ritual they were trying to cast. It's like, hey, they're trying to bring back this lich, or they're trying to turn this thing into a beholder, etc., etc. So a normal spell would be able to be casted as a ritual with no material components. I like the idea. We would have to put a limit on how many they can do it, but I like the idea. Okay, so the thing about wizards is I know their subclasses say schools of, but I know recently they started deviating away from that and just calling it what the study is. Right, because you have like chronology magic, all this stuff. So you can just call it ritualist. The other one I was also thinking of was like a runestone wizard. Kind of like a runic one. So we'll call it runic magic. This is the other idea I have. School of long casting. I want it to be a mix of what you said, rituals and concentration. I like that idea. And I think we got a subclass for each one. Our next thing to do is, I'm not going to be on for too long, since I do have to get up early in the morning, but I think we could probably create one of these subclasses right now before we head out. So, nothing, I will let you do the honors. Which one of these do you find the most interesting? Oh, we didn't put Ranger in here. Okay, real quick, we thought of Aerial Ranger. Poor Ranger, always getting forgotten. We might change it, but for now we'll just put that. Let's see. Let me fix these fonts. But with that said, let me know which one you want to do. I think the Bard one is the funniest. A Bard who plays bad music, the party has to deal with it. Alright, let's do it. So, it's time to make our Discord Bard. Oh boy. Okay. So over here. Let's make this font bigger. What? Really? Expand it. There we go. Okay, we solved it. Okay, so as always, our first step is to find out at what levels they get their features and follow that recipe. Whoops. I clicked on an extra link. I didn't have to. Bard. Let's see. First bonus you get, you lose all proficiency in all musical instruments. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, Bard colleges. So not showed here. 3, 6, 14. 3 abilities are gonna make it pretty easy. Let's go down with 24. Third, 6, and 14. Right? 3, 6, 14. Yes, 3, 6, 14. Okay. So, third level. Cursed musician. For either a well-deserved or unknown reason, you lose all proficiency. Why can I not spell proficiency? There we go. Nope, I was wrong. Prophecy. No. Proficiency. That's also wrong. I know it is. Proficiency. There we go. You lose all proficiency in musical instruments. Do we make them roll at disadvantage when using them? Depends. Next one, when you play a musical instrument, automatically does 20 d20 thunder damage to everything within 50. Okay, that's a nuke. The damage is a little too high. But I like the idea. We're definitely gonna stick to the idea of you playing it to literally hurt everyone's head, but the damage is very high. Alright, so we need to give them a buff to something, however. Can you keep all the glass shatters for funny? Yeah, we could definitely have the glass shatter within like any glass within 100 feet probably shatters up. That'll be very funny. We need to think of a benefit they get for being cursed, so they're not just signing up to lose. It's gonna be a little hard. I mean, so the first thing we know is there's gonna be the Melody of Discord. We could call it. Is that how you spell melody? Melody of Discourse. Ooh, that could be a better word. That I spelled wrong. Make that a third level feat? Yeah, I mean, it's like a passive feat, right? It's like a roleplay thing. That just kind of happens. As an action, you conjure a musical instrument and play. Deals psychic damage to anyone targets who can hear it. It's not are able to hear Let's make a wisdom saving throw. Or take, let's see, 6th level, which you get. We'll see. No, that sounds too good. Which part sounds too good? I'll change this to Discord. Not quite sure what the damage is right now. We'll just say it's 5d8, essentially like a fireball. As an action, damage all the eardrums. They make a wisdom saving throw to take 2d8, essentially bleeding damage, and become deaf. Ooh. Well, what if you like daze them, right? What are the conditions in D&D? Is deafened a condition? It is. Fails any ability check that requires hearing. What? Oh, anything. Yeah. No, I like what you're saying. Nothing. So that could work 100%. So for the third one, we'll say. Thing is as an action might be a little brutal. Here's the thing. The College of Discord cannot. Okay, I have an idea. I have an idea with this. You are no longer able to inspire your allies. However, you may apply bardic inspiration to your enemies and cause them to reduce any roll as a reaction. So what if they can no longer inspire their teammates because their music's awful, but they can play their music to essentially put like Bane on an enemy? And it causes them like, you know, it's like, hey, this person's rolling 18 to hit. Hey, I'm going to use my reaction to reduce it by my bardic dice. That's 4. Okay, the attack misses because you played like terrible music and it stunned, like confused them for a second. I think that part could work pretty well. So it's like a reverse bardic inspiration. Cool. Alright. Or take 5d8 damage and be deafened. I think we put the deafened one on this. I'm not spelling deafened right. I'm not going to spell anything right tonight. Okay, now 14th level. What do we want to put for the max level feature? I'm not sure if any of these conditions sound like something I want to put for the 14th level. The only one is maybe paralyzed. Oh, we have an ad for YouTube. Let's change that. And we are good. For the Melody of Discord, can you make them deaf for 5 turns? Basically make them immune to that attack for 5 turns. Also, can it damage allies? That's a good question to ask. I think one thing for sure is yeah, I never really make abilities to damage allies. I just say it magically kind of jumps around them with a couple of like key things. Like some spells obviously, like if you throw fireball, but I have like features not really do that because it's just not as fun for the players. Make all the enemies stun for 2 seconds if it's the first time they've heard the melody of Discord. Oh, okay. So what we could do is, upon hearing melody for the first time, we'll say 1 before turn. Melody is 1L. Who would have guessed? Upon taking, so 5d8 is, so for this one you have to decide. We'll just say it's also 1d4. But +1, so it's at least a minimum of 2. Oh, 1d8 damage to allies since they're all kind of used to the noise. By the way, melody spelt with 1L. Yeah, that part I noticed. So yeah, I think at some point the first time it could be like, haha, it's funny, it damaged you guys. And then we can kind of say that like, hey, your party expects the sound, so they kind of know what's going on. So they become immune to it. That, or, you know, the bard could buy them ear muffins and have a code word. You know, if he says like bagel balloon, then everyone knows to put the headphones on and not get damaged. Alright, for the 14th level. I mean, a funny RP thing is you can take away someone's ability to perform. You're that bad. What if they cause discord in everyone's sort of movement and stuff like that and their actions? So during that time, they kind of just have people roll at disadvantage for a bit. I don't know. It might be too powerful to have all their rolls be disadvantage. That would be very, very strong. But it would make sense with how annoying they are. So we can have it that they enter a trance. So as an action, you begin to enter a trance of performing the worst music possible. Each creature within, let's say, 120 feet must succeed on... Yeah, it has to be a wisdom. During this trance, you must use an action to maintain it. So you're free to use your bonus actions. You just have to use your action to maintain the trance. And lasts for a maximum. Let me respawn. Maximum, there we go. Of 1 minute. Screeching noise, half movement speed, disadvantage to attack and saving throws, plus prone on a failed con save. Maybe the first time it harms allies as well. It's not a bad idea. For some of these. So I like the screeching one. Screeching. Call it screeching tempo. Or screeching crescendo. One of the two. We'll see which one we like more. So, and have their movement speed halved. I'm okay with having their movement speed because it's like they're getting stunned and dazed. It's like a flashbang. We won't knock them prone just because like it'll add more to what this does, and also prone doesn't really do much in D&D, sadly. They just use half their movement to get back up, and it's kind of that's it. As a balance, maybe to make the bard more balanced, make it harm allies every first time it's used in battle. I mean, it's something that we don't need to write in the class feature, but we can just say that it happens the first time. That way, if a DM ever looks at this in the future and sees it, they're free to decide on if they want it to affect allies or not. But in my mind, yes. The first time it would harm allies, and then they would become immune once they know it is. But I think this is pretty good, what we have right here. Maybe in the future we can think of like other things that can get buffs too, but with that, I think we have completed this one. So we can copy it, take it to the completed subclasses. I don't know why we have this little tab here. And boom. All right. Hell yeah. That was awesome. Well then, nothing. Thank you for being here. I know today is a very, very, very short one. Apologize for that. Saturday is going to be my next planned stream, and that one will be much longer. I will be on much earlier and go for a bit longer, and hopefully that'll be a lot more content. Harming teammates is funny. Yeah, especially when you suck at the one thing you're supposed to be good at. All right. In that case, have a great night. Take care of yourself. Tomorrow I will try. It depends. I have some friends that are trying to come over, so it depends on how long they're going to be there for. So if they're there for a while, then I will not be able to go up to my room and stream. But if they leave early, then yeah, we could stream. But Saturday I definitely should be good. So I hope to see you tomorrow. I'll definitely see you Saturday. Have a great night. Take care of yourself. Get yourself a nice cup of coffee. Take it easy. Peace.